So that's cool. But today, the real Andy of Beverly Hills was on, right? So I listened. You know that guy, like, hey girl, what? No, no, what does he say? He say, girl, yeah, that's what he says. So he was on, and he's like a super fan of Teresa, and that's fine. But he came on, and he had an interesting question. So I wanted to talk about that with you guys, just in case you didn't listen to the podcast. So Andy, I'm paraphrasing, okay? So I'm just going off my memory right now. So he was saying something like, Jen Fessler and Jackie Goldschneider, they are now trying to be friends with Teresa, or friendly at least. We've seen the tweets, the texts, oh, like congratulations, like on your book, and then Jackie being, oh, thank you, lovey, or thank you, love, or that kind of stuff, right? So the girls are playing nice with Teresa. So Andy's question was, Andy, the real Andy of Beverly Hills, he said, should we be worried for you, like us, the fans, because, these people, not so much Jennifer. I don't know if I would group Jennifer Fessler into that one, because she was only there like for one season as a friend of, but definitely Jackie and Teresa have had some fireworks, right, at some point in time. So Andy was basically saying, should we be worried for you? And should we kind of trust their intentions, right? Talking about Jackie and Jen Fessler, but I'm really going to say Jackie, right? So, because you've had some fireworks with these women before, or with Jackie before, and do you think it's genuine, basically, that they're trying to move towards a friendship with you? And then Teresa was saying, well, I know what's in my heart, and I hope that they are being sincere. I can't really comment, because I can't really talk about storylines, right? And because they're currently filming right now, so obviously she can't like talk too much about that. But she basically said to Andy, well, I hope that they listen to this podcast today, and I hope that they listen to your concerns and the fans' concerns, because I know what's in my heart, and I know, like, basically I'm sincere, and like I'm moving forward. So I hope that they're doing the same. And if they are not sincere, well, my tree stumps will come after them and attack them on social media. She actually said something around those lines, right? So then Andy, he laughed and he thought it was funny, so that's fine. Why I thought that this statement made by Teresa was interesting, and I will tell you why, and I will tell you something that is even more interesting right now. Not so long ago, Teresa had Brandy Glanville on her podcast with Melissa Feaster. She had Brandy, I can't remember how many episodes ago, but it was sometime this year, and it was on the tale of everything that have happened on girls trip with Caroline, right? So Teresa was talking to Brandy, because apparently Brandy and Teresa are friends or friendly, or Teresa thinks that Brandy's super funny. So anyways, they have like a good relationship, I guess. So then Teresa was asking Brandy, what happened? What happened on the trip with Caroline, right? And they went on and talked, like, obviously, like, Brandy cannot talk about everything because of the lawsuit or whatever. Like, they're like, there's like legal stuff going on that front. But at some point in time, they were talking, and then Teresa said to Brandy, there's girls on my show that, kids are off limits, right? She was like, kids are off limits. There's certain things that you shouldn't say, and, husbands, mom, and that kind of stuff, but definitely kids, right? And then she said, there's some girl that, there's a girl on my show who basically said something about my daughter, right? That's what she said. And then she said, I'm not that kind of person, if you say something about my child, something about my daughter, I'll never forget. Like, we will never be friends. Like, paraphrasing here, but I'm telling you, she was very passionate about it. And she was kind of like, getting a little worked up. Like, she was just like, there's this person on the show that said something horrible about my daughter, and I'll never forget. Like, nah, we'll never be friends. Like, never. Write that. So she never named Jackie, but obviously we know that it's Jackie who said something about Teresa's daughter, right? And the reason why I remember this is because I had commented on it on my podcast in earlier episodes as well. Because when it comes to that, I have to agree with Teresa. I understood Jackie's analogy. I don't need anyone to preface it with, for example, or this is an analogy. I'm about to make an analogy. I don't need anyone to do that. But I'm just saying I thought it was distasteful. Just because, my opinion on that was, she didn't have to say. Like, she could have said, what if someone said that one of your kids was doing something in the washroom, right? She could have said that. But the fact that she actually pinpointed Gia and said, Gia, I heard that Gia is doing this and that in the washroom. I was just like, oh no, like, nobody cares about your analogy. You cannot do that. And then this kid has to go to school, and now people are going to be like looking at her sideways and like, oh, do you? Like, oh, how come you're touching your nose? Like, you know what I mean? It was not necessary. So when it comes to that, I don't care that it was an analogy. I thought it was distasteful, and I'm still sticking to that today. But I thought that was interesting that Teresa said this a few episodes ago on her podcast when she was talking to Brandy Glanville. Because according to Teresa's statement, her and Jackie will never be friends. It's not like something that she said like 10 years ago or even 2 years ago. It's something that she said this year, right? And now Teresa is saying, well, I hope that Jackie and I hope that Jen Fessler have good intentions in, having a relationship with me. I think that we should ask that question to Teresa as well. Are your intentions pure towards Jackie? Because not so long ago you said that you would never be friends with someone who disrespected your child, right? You want to know something that is actually funny, guys? I can no longer find that interview. That interview has completely disappeared. It used to be there with Brandy, because I wanted to play the recording for you, right? But I can't because it's no longer there. So I don't know if they had to take it down because of the legal issues with, the whole thing with Brandy and Caroline, right? So I'm not even going to say that it's like some sort of convoluted plan to have it taken down. It might have been just Bravo not wanting that interview to air out, even though it aired already and I listened to it. So just take my word for it. You know that usually I like to prove stuff with my little audio clips, but I can't today because it's completely scrapped off of the internet. But if someone else listens to this podcast religiously, hopefully they can co-sign that what I'm saying right now is true. So anyways, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you again for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. You can find me on IG at relatable_Stella, or you can find me on my podcast at Housewives Relatable, on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you like to listen to your podcast. Okay, guys, after I wrapped up my episode, I was able to actually find the recording from Namaste's Bitches podcast with Brandy Glanville, and the little segment where Teresa said what she said about Jackie Goldschneider without mentioning her name, of course, right? So I'll just add it as a bonus little audio clip for you guys to listen to it. And I was able to actually find it on Brandy Glanville's podcast. because I totally forgot that she had a podcast. So I was able to find the episode on hers, but it appears like the episode has been removed from Teresa and Melissa Feaster's podcast. So I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if Brandy and Teresa are still on speaking terms. I don't know if that means that maybe Bravo didn't want them to have that episode on their podcast given the situation with Caroline, but I'm not quite sure if Bravo would intervene when it comes to Teresa and Melissa's podcast, because I believe Caroline was able to go on Teddy Mellencamp and Tamra Judge's podcast and not really talk about the situation, but just to talk about it a little bit somewhat, right? So anyways, here it is, so you guys can listen to it. As always, don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments.
Anything, like she should have just like left, because there is alcohol involved, and like I guess
we were just having the time of our lives. It's you've done the Ultimate Girl Trip. It's the longest day. Honestly, it's like you get up at 9 a.m, you don't have a break, and you have like 5 events that day. And so this is the last event of the day, but prior to this event, I did, have an argument with her. Same day, everything, but, she brought up kids. Like, you can't bring up my kids. You know that like, if anyone brought up your kids, Teresa, you'd go batshit. I mean,
oh, yeah. Anybody that brings up, like, kids in a negative way.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody did that on my show, and I still can't look at them the same, because it's just like, you don't say something negative about a child. Well, she said something negative about your children?
Like, I don't want to get specific, so, like, how would they feel seeing you like this if they were here? And I'm like,
But they're not there. But they weren't there.
Well, why even say that though, right? Like, don't even like insinuate that she's doing something and like judge. Like, that's judgy. And by the way, Brandy, that takes me back to that dinner that you had at the Berkshires.
Yeah, no, that's like, I think that people know that my trigger is my kids.
Everyone's trigger is their
Everyone's
kids.
trigger should be kids.
Yeah, that happened on my show. Like, I'm glad I was namaste as much as I could be.
A little bit of that in me, because I flipped the switch. I'm not a table, but a switch. And I want to kill everyone that's saying anything. And I did with my words. I don't like to fight, but I'm really good at it. And so I let her really have it. So yeah, she was pretty upset with me going into the belly dancing as it was anyway.